Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to go through more of my recent reads for the past month or so. All of these are, I guess, different flavors of slice of life, drama, that sort of thing. But I do want to just quickly start off with this specific one here. The reason why I wanted to start that one off is because the Kickstarters for Glacier Bay books are being shipped right now. So one of their books that they're licensing is from this same author here, Miyazaki Natsujikei. This one is another one I read recently called Even in Your Absence, He Continues to Shine. This was published in 2018. And we've also got this cool little card here. But yeah, published in 2018. It's a great romance slice of life manga, but of course with Miyazaki's little twists that they love to put, very signature of their style. So pretty much the premise of this one is that Namiki, who is our main character here, he has an idealized image of a person in his head, and that person is named Golden Yukiko. So it's kind of like the ideal friend, I guess, or ideal person to him. And this is supposedly in his imagination, but at school he does come across a girl that looks exactly like her with the exact name, Golden Yukiko. And so the story follows Namiki as he interacts with Yukiko, but it's also a bit confusing as well as to whether, is she just a part of his imagination still? Is he still imagining everything, or is this person really a real person? Is it reality? So it kind of bends between those two areas a lot, imagination and reality. It gets you to question what is kind of real and what isn't, and how unreliable of a narrator Namiki is. And so it's a story about relationships, youth, family, obsessions, and also running away from reality as well, but at the same time being isolated and having no support network. And we have that fantastical element mixed in where there are some instances where Golden Yukiko only stays in this field of vision for 4 seconds, and it does get him to question whether she is real or not. So it is a bit confusing reading through the whole thing, but a very unique take on this slice of life high school romance genre. So I highly recommend this. It's not translated in English. I do hope more of Miyazaki's works are translated into English in the future, but we are slowly getting some with Glacier Bay books. So this one was a really good one. I enjoyed this one. I've read so far 3 Miyazaki books and I've loved all of them. My favorite is not here right now. I'll probably show it in another video, but this is probably my second favorite manga from them. So yeah, that was Even in Your Absence, He Continues to Shine. The next one that I have here is called Flying Horse. This one is actually a manga adaptation of a novel series. So the mangaka's name is Tanaka Miho, and the original author of the series is called Kitamura Kaoru. So the series is called Enshi and I, and this adapts the first book that came out in 1989. So what it is like a sort of mystery detective series where Enshi is this man here. He kind of assumes the role of a detective, and he's also like a rakugo performer as well. And our main character, they just go by the name of I, or I'm pretty sure it's just I. So they don't really have a name, but we do follow them. They're the main character in all of these stories here. So a couple of different short stories. Essentially, you can think of it as like detective stories, but with no murder, no crimes or anything. It's more just the mundane, but also figuring out there's also little elements of, I guess, fantasy mixed in, but it's not fantasy. It's just mundane and ordinary situations that are manifested or shown as being extraordinary. This one was a very confusing work for me. I couldn't understand all of it. I mean, it is adapted from the original novel. I love the art though. This is also published by, Torch, I believe. Torch as well, who they do tons of cool manga. Would like to see this translated because it's very text heavy. And from what I could understand, quite complicated as well. So, though I didn't really understand it too much, I still enjoyed it. The original novel series by Kitamura is not translated in English either. So, we'll see how it goes with that. But yeah, that was an interesting one. It's not my favorite, but again, I didn't fully understand it. The art is still great though. This was published in 2019. Quite a thick one too. Thicker than what I usually expect, but interesting. So next one, we've got this one here is a manga. It's a non-fiction manga. It's like a manga essay or manga autobiography. This one is called I Lived in a Broken Family by Umimi Saijo and published in 2019. I believe this was originally published like as a web manga and then collected into a tankobon here. But it follows the author, the mangaka, and her upbringing. So essentially what had happened to her family was the main event was a divorce that led to her mother's alcoholism and also some child abandonment as well. She has a younger brother, and pretty much the entirety of the essay manga details her growing up from this traumatic event. And it is very sad. It's a very sad story, although it's still quite hopeful at the end. But throughout the entire story, you are looking at a lot of topics of directing anger and blame at people. You know, as a kid, going through your parents' divorce and living with your mom who develops an addiction to alcohol is a very severe environment that affected Umimi Saijo a lot. And so you're going to see a lot of topics related to regret and seeing the cycles repeat themselves. You know, when she did grow older, realizing that there were some things that she was taking away from her mother that wasn't healthy. And also in the afterword of this story, they said that it took them 2.5 years to write because Umimi Saijo was actually pregnant with her second son. So it's quite an interesting one because she is not the only manga that she's done. She's had another essay manga from my memory. I do have it somewhere, just don't know where at the moment. But it's a very heartfelt one, even though a lot of the story is quite depressing and quite serious. The story does end with a hopeful tone, so that was great, you know, learning about everything she's gone through. And this was only published in 2019. When was this? Yeah, 2019. So pretty recent still, but slowly I'm reading more and more non-fiction manga that is like adapting the lives of the mangaka. The previous one I read, I think I did show it off. Yeah, I did show it on the channel before. I think it was called Without Saying Goodbye, from my memory. That was really good too. But yeah, a lot of them are quite serious. But really good though, really good. Although the drawings are quite simple, it does still serve its purpose of showcasing the family and everything she had to go through, even though everything is quite cute. But yeah, this one was a really good one. Enjoyed this one too. That was I Lived in a Broken Family by Umimi Saijo. So now let's go on to this one here. This one was a definite 10 out of 10 for me. This is Ie Meguri by Nerunodaisuki, published in 2021. And number one, we've got a couple of color pages, which are really cool. The premise of this story is that we have our white cat here and a black cat here. So the white cat is someone they're looking for a house to live in. And the black cat is pretty much an agent, a real estate agent. And it's showing around the white cat to different houses around the area. But none of the houses are normal at all. There's a total of maybe 8 houses, I believe. Each house is completely crazy. And the level of detail in this manga is insane. So, for example, the first house, it was owned by someone who was sent to a psychiatric hospital after going insane for all the renovations he did to the house. And what's really funny as well is that after they go through all the houses, the white cat gives a reason why it doesn't like it. So despite everything, the white cat didn't like it because the kitchen was too small. And then you'll also see a trend with the cars as well. Because the second house we go through, it's an underground tunnel system that holds things like frozen mammoths, so the mammoths here, an unprogrammed rocket over here, also has like food supply and everything. And the white cat doesn't like it because there's no sunlight. So let's move on to the third one. So I might as well go through all three because all the houses, because I really love this manga so much. I love nerunodaisuki a lot. Our third house is a pyramid, focusing on protection. So the owner was very paranoid, obsessed with the idea of an alien invasion. And so his house included drones, robots, flamethrowers. Weirdly enough, there was like a bedroom in the shape of a uterus. So crazy stuff. White cat doesn't like it because it doesn't like digital stuff. And we've got the car is slowly starting to change. Fourth one, a submarine. You get to live in there for free, but you got to do your work. And by work, you've got to, by work, you've got to help out and, get the seafood ready. Crazy one there. And you see here the car keeps changing every time and the white cat is confused. So fifth house, it's inside this giant 10,000-year-old whale. It's being kept alive for research purposes, but you can also live in there for free, except you gotta fight your way through all the parasites in there. So white cat doesn't like it because of the parasites and also how humid it is. Then we go on to the sixth house, which is pretty much a greenhouse. Lots of insects, lots of creatures. White cat doesn't really like that either. Then we go on to the seventh house, which is made by a religious cult. That kind of explains everything you can see right here. And then we have the eighth house, which is my favorite, also because it's fully in color. This is a psychedelic house based on the 60s and 70s. They also take some mushrooms during the trip. And then we go into this crazy sequence where they're both tripping out, exploring this house, and we get these cool collages as well. Definitely my favorite part of the entire manga. So please pick this up because you do not need to understand everything that is happening. You just see the art, look at the art, and just take it all in. They also go into this weird creature. They get turned into this weird thing. They get eaten and they pop out of its bones. So very psychedelic. And how we end things off is that they sort of pop out back into where they started. So it everything kind of feels like a dream. And the cat settles on a normal house. And so the afterword says that the mangaka had based this on the experiences he had when he was going around with a real estate agent looking for property as well. So very directly translated to this manga, but a very fun one. So this was published in 2021. Highly recommend this, not too hard to get as well, published by Enterbrain Kadokawa, but nerunodaisuki is always a very fun one to read. And so now we come to the last manga here. This is Tanpenshuu, which means, I guess, collected works by Kiriko Nananan, who I know did publish some works in later Garo, and she is known for her drama works, sort of tragedy, romance, slice of life works. This one here is a short story collection, pretty much. And some of them are vignettes, some of them are longer pieces as well, but they touch upon various topics, anything related to love, sex, relationships, youth, all of that type of stuff. This wasn't my favorite, I think, because some of them were a bit too short to hit for me. For me right now, out of everything I've read from Nananan, it can be a hit or miss. I did read Blue, and the one thing that made me really confused throughout Blue was that it was hard to actually tell who was who. With Nananan's character designs, a little bit difficult sometimes to differentiate who is who. So yeah, right now, you know, I'm still not turned off by it. I'm still want to try out more of her works, but this one I read most recently, and it was alright. Not bad, but not perfect either. So yeah, these are where the chapters were originally serialized. But it's still a great book, a very heavy book actually. It's not hardcover, but it's just very heavy stock. But yeah, so those were 5 of my recent reads in the past month. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Out of everything, nothing has been translated into English. I really hope this one comes out in either English or another language. 100% my favorite out of everything I've read this month. But yeah, we'll be back with another video. See you in the next one. Bye.